Hey everybody. So in this video, I actually want to share with you a trip that I took to Columbus, Ohio. And for the first time, I visited a toy shop called Big Fun. So if you've never heard of Big Fun before, it is a vintage toy shop in downtown Columbus, Ohio. And I had never heard of it before until it was made, I would say, pretty famous last year during PowerCon, because PowerCon actually happened at the convention center, which is only a few blocks away from this toy store. And a lot of YouTubers went and visited Big Fun, and they put up videos last year during PowerCon of their visit. So I actually had to go on a work trip, and the convention center was hosting an event that I was going to, and it was the same convention center that PowerCon happens in August. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go to PowerCon. Don't really have the money, and my schedule isn't going to really allow for it. But I was able to actually go to that same convention center recently. And of course, I had to, knock out some time to go visit this toy shop. So what I want to do is just share what very, very little bit of footage I got inside the store, and then share my haul from what I purchased at the store. I will say that the store is it's pretty small, but it is jam-packed of action figures, tons and tons of vintage Star Wars, G.I. Joe, a good bit of Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, Marvel Legends, DC figures from all kinds of different lines, really old stuff, some more recent stuff, some brand new stuff, especially some newer Marvel figures. And there is stuff everywhere, hanging from the ceiling, stacked up to the ceiling. There's in package figures. There's a whole bunch of loose figures in cabinets. And what I have for you is just a very small taste of their inventory, but it is just pretty much one aisle back and then another aisle towards the front. So it's very close quarters. You have to really kind of take your time, and getting by people can be, treacherous at times. So you have to really watch what you're doing. But it's a really, really amazing toy store. So when you first walk in, you see a big cabinet of Marvel figures, and then a whole bunch of toys just hanging just on pegs, hanging from the ceiling. They have comic books and just figures everywhere. And I mean everywhere. So here's a look at towards the back of the shop. Here's all the DC figures. So they have Superpowers, they have DC Direct, they have DC Classics, Kenner DC, they have wrestlers, just all kinds of action figures, just everything that you could possibly imagine and more. So on my first trip to Big Fun, here are my pickups. So my first trip was very DC heavy, as you can see. I got a Kenner Man of Steel black suit Superman. They called him the Laser Superman, but we all know it's Superman in his regeneration suit. Probably the thing that I am most excited about is this Superpowers Hawkman figure. So the Superpowers Hawkman was actually the last Superpowers figure that I needed to complete the first 2 waves of Superpowers figures. Now, Hawkman is not a particularly difficult figure to find. It's just that I was determined to find one that was in good shape and that had his mace. The one thing about the Hawkman figure is it's difficult to find one that doesn't have a scratched up nose, or scratched up, like helmet, like where the hawk ears are. I guess that's what they are. maybe they're wings. And then also to find one where the wings actually work. So you squeeze his legs and the wings flap. And then, of course, the mace is sometimes very hard to find. So I got a really great deal on this Superpowers Hawkman. He is in fantastic shape. He has his weapon. He even came with that little card there. Very, very happy to pick this up. This was actually one of the main things I went there looking for. And he was right there with all the other Superpowers figures. And he was in fantastic shape. And it was a really great price on him. I also got the Black Vulcan figure. They actually had 2 of these, and this one was actually marked $10 less than the other one that they had, and they look pretty much identical to me. So I was really happy that I found this one that was $10 less. And it was a little pricey. It was a little more than what I wanted to pay, but I'm hoping to actually sell the Apache Chief figure that he comes with, because I'm just not really in the frame of mind to try to build the Apache Chief figure. I wouldn't mind having the Apache Chief figure, but I have none of the Collect and Connect pieces for that figure. I have a lot of the figures from this wave. In fact, I have almost all of them, I do believe, but you know, long time ago, those Build-A-Figure pieces are long gone. But I do not have the Black Vulcan figure, and I have wanted him for a while. He is a harder one to find, and he is a little pricier. So I was happy to add this one to my collection. They also had the Superpowers version of Mantis from DC Classics, which I do not have. And he's in really good shape. They had this one loose, and he had a really good price. I think he was like 15 or 20 bucks. And I definitely needed this one to add to my Superpowers inspired DC Classic shelf, because I actually have a display. I don't think you can quite see them behind me there, because they're on that top shelf that's cut off in my background. But yeah, so I have a shelf of the Superpowers styled DC Classics figures, and I don't have the Mantis. So I was very happy to pick that one up. I got this Superman and Batman 2-pack from the Batman Animated Series. I've probably seen this before, but I think this one was $10, and it was just kind of sitting there, and it looked nice. And I thought, yeah, this is a cool one to pick up and just keep in box, just, you know, on display. And I got 2 Bucky O'Hare figures. I've been sort of kind of on just a Bucky O'Hare kick. And it's actually funny because I just really don't have much of an attachment to these figures. I probably saw them when I was a little kid, but you know, if it wasn't Ninja Turtles back then, I wasn't really interested in it. But they look cool. You know, again, they're anthropomorphic kind of you know, creature humanoid things, and they just look cool. It's funny, though, I did not realize at the time that the weapon that the Toad came with is actually not his weapon. The Toad Trooper, I think he's called, he actually comes with a pink gun, and that is a silver gun that he comes with that actually belongs to the Orange Baboon, which I have. So I have the Orange Baboon figure without his weapon, so now I have his weapon. So that worked out great. So I took the weapon from the Toad and gave it to the Baboon guy. And then the I think he's called Dog Star Commander or something. He's basically a, you know, a dog guy. He's actually harder to find than some of the other figures, and he was a little more than I wanted to spend, but he was in good shape. He comes with a gun, so I figured, why not add it to the Bucky O'Hare collection that I am kind of getting together. And I just like the colors, and I like the style of these guys. They're, you know, they're very much along the lines of vintage Ninja Turtle figures. So of course I went back to Big Fun a couple days later when I had some free time, and I picked up some more figures. So as you can see, these are other lines besides DC. So my first trip was very DC heavy, and my second trip was other stuff. So there in the back are 2 Power Ranger figures that I picked up that I did not have in my vintage Power Ranger collection. So I got the 8-inch Goofish, which is in pretty good shape, but what clinched it for me was he has his weapon, which I have. I have almost all of the 8-inch deluxe Power Ranger Evil Space Alien figures, but I have very few of them with their weapons, with their accessories. And it's just one of those things where I'm not really willing to spend, more than a few dollars on those accessories. It's just not that big of a deal to me. I just really just wanted to have the figures as a set. But the fact that this Goofish was in good shape, obviously I don't have him already, and he came with his neat little kind of fish spear weapon, I just had to grab him up. And then also from Power Rangers, one of the 5-inch Evil Space Alien figures is the Vampirus monster, which was season 3. He was the monster that Rita Revolto brought for Rita. And he is in really good shape. It's hard to see, but he does have his tail. He has his little weapon thing. And I don't have this one either. So I figured, hey, great price and he's in great shape. So add him to the pile. The 2 little vintage Star Wars figures there on the left, I picked those up because literally at the checkout, I was waiting in line to check out with all of my figures on the second trip. And they have a box of just kind of loose, not in the greatest of shape, vintage Star Wars figures. And there's a little sign that says, beat up vintage Star Wars, $5 each. And I was like, just kind of digging through it, perusing it. It was just a small little cardboard box of figures. And it's like one of those things, how like when you're in line at the store and they have just like all those things right at the cashier just for you to kind of buy because you're just bored waiting in line. It's kind of like that. So I was like, all right, well, I'll get the Hammerhead guy because he's just kind of wacky and weird looking. And of course, I had to get the IG because of the Mandalorian show. I was like, well, this guy is actually in pretty decent shape, and for $5, why not? Just put him, with a Grogu figure and call it a day. So yeah, so I picked up a couple of vintage Star Wars figures, which I hardly ever do, but for $5 each, and because they were there, I was like, why not? Just throw them in. Then I got the G.I. Joe Classified Barbecue figure, which I've really been on the fence about. I've been getting quite a lot of the G.I. Joe Classifieds just because they're really, really awesome figures. I don't really have a nostalgic connection to G.I. Joe at all, but they're just awesome figures. I mean, they look great and they have cool accessories. I was going to get the blue, the Marauders version of Barbecue. I kind of like the blue color, but that's not really, show accurate. It's not cartoon accurate. So they had this one. It was $20. He was complete, in good shape. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to grab this guy because he looks awesome. And he just goes great with the other G.I. Joe figures. He just looks awesome with his team. Then we get to, of course, Ninja Turtles. So on the right, we have got the angry red Dream Beaver. So I was digging in a box of Ninja Turtle figures. They were all just kind of loose, missing accessories. Some of them were a little bit beat up. And I found this guy. He was $4. And I was like, okay, I really do love the 2012 cartoon series. I have a few of the figures, just mostly some of my favorite characters. I have like the Shredder, and I have Raphael, and I think I have Mondo Gecko, maybe like the Splinter. So I saw this guy just kind of like sitting in there randomly. And I was like, you know what, let me grab this guy because he is just weird and crazy looking, and he's only $4. What was not $4, because this is actually the most expensive figure on this shelf right here, is a complete Ninja Turtles third movie Raphael figure. So if you have been watching this channel at all, if you've watched any of my Ninja Turtle videos, you know that Raphael is my favorite Ninja Turtle. I have quite a Raphael display, just a Raphael specific set of figures and other, TMNT merchandise that's just Raphael. And this is actually a figure that I did not have. I have the giant size version without any accessories, but I don't have the, the regular figure. So I've been kind of holding out because I really wanted to get him just complete. I didn't want to have to try to track down all of these accessories and everything. So they had him at Big Fun. He was right there in the huge cabinet of loose vintage turtle figures. It's really neat because they have them by turtle. So they basically have like rows of Michelangelo, rows of Raphael, rows of Leonardo. So they just have like rows of each turtle with the different variants. So that was cool. That was a neat way to organize, the different ones. And they had tons of them. So, if you're in the Columbus area and you're looking for vintage turtles, go check them out. But yeah, this figure was in fantastic shape. As you can see, he is totally complete. He has all of his accessories. He was $30 and that was good enough for me. So definitely needed to pick him up. And then finally, also on my second trip, I got not the entire Validus figure, but I finally got the last piece I needed to complete the Validus Collect and Connect figure from DC Classics. So I have had this Validus figure missing his left arm for probably months. And he's just been kind of sitting around, just waiting for that arm. And Big Fun had this box of just DC Classics Collect and Connect pieces in separated Ziploc bags, so like separated by character, and it's just full of arms and legs and heads and torsos, whatever. So I'm looking and I'm like, all right, let me see what they have, kind of not expecting much. And then I found a bag for Validus and it had like a couple legs, a couple arms, and I was like, well, there's no way they're gonna have the left arm that I need. So I'm looking and they had 2 right arms and 1 left arm. So I got the left arm. I think it was like $5 and I was thrilled. I could not wait to get home and stick this arm into this Validus. So finally completed the Validus figure. And then I also got this Kenner Swamp Thing figure from them. So this makes my 4th Swamp Thing from the Kenner line. I have 2 of the villains and I have 4 of the Swamp Thing variants. And the guys were so nice that, they saw my big pile. They remembered me from a couple days ago. So they remembered kind of how much I bought a couple days ago, and they saw how much I was buying again. And they threw the Swamp Thing in for free. I think the Swamp Thing was like $7 or $8. And the guy at the cash register was like, you know what, we're just going to throw Swamp Thing here, throw this one in for free because you're getting so much. And there's a couple other things that I bought that I haven't even shown in the video because I've already kind of put them in the collection. A couple Star Wars troopers, a couple other little odds and ends that I've already kind of put on their shelves in the display. So I got a lot from Big Fun and it was fantastic. So I would highly recommend, if you are ever in the, Columbus, Ohio area, if you're passing through, if you ever need to, do traveling and you ever need somewhere to kind of stop, if you're on a long layover or something, definitely check out Big Fun if you are a vintage toy collector, because they have a little bit of everything. Especially if you collect vintage Star Wars, vintage G.I. Joe, Ninja Turtles, DC. Like I said, they have everything, but definitely a lot of vintage stuff from the 80s. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm very happy to share my pickups from Big Fun Toy Store, and let me know what you think in the comments. Have a great day.